Hi, my name is Miranda. I'm going to take you through some exercises that we can do inside on a mat, watching a video. But I'm hoping that these exercises will give you some ideas of how to stretch out to stop your back from hurting, your shoulders from aching, your neck, various other things that can happen when we're gardening. So, first of all, come onto both your feet, arms by your sides. Inhale, rotate your upper arms out. Feel how that takes the shoulders back and down, the hands just follow. Exhale, let your arms come back in. Inhale, rotate your arms out again. Feel how that takes the shoulders back and down. Exhale, let your arms come back in. The next time you do that, open your chest as well. Rotate your arms and lift your breastbone. Exhale, come back in. And come sideways just so you can see. So inhale, rotate your arms, lift your breastbone. So you're working your upper back muscles and stretching out the front of your chest. Exhale, arms come back in. So again, rotate out, lift up. It's counterposing all the forward bending we do when we're gardening. Rotate out again, lift. And exhale back in. And then a bigger back bend, hands behind your back, elbows in, and lift your breastbone forwards and up. Exhale, relax out of it. Inhale, lift your breastbone forwards and up. Exhale. One more time if this feels okay, otherwise stick with the smaller one. Reach up and relax. Then take your arms again by your sides. Again, rotate your arms, take them up, clasp them together this time. Point your forefingers and inhale, reach up and stretch. And then exhale over to one side and reach and stretch, lengthening. Inhale, come back up again. Exhale over to the other side again, reach and stretch. Inhale to come back up. We do the same again. So exhaling off one direction, reach and stretch, and back up. Again, lengthening inhale, exhale over, reach and stretch. Inhale, come back up, and take your arms down. And then roll your shoulders. So take your shoulders forwards, up, back, and down. So forwards, up, back, and down. Just a few more times. And this in itself should feel intuitive. Most of these things should. Sometimes we don't think about them. We forget. So then take the hands, the arms, shoulders down, and take your hands behind your back. Clasp them together and take them over to the left. And take your head over to the left. So by taking the hands over to the left, you're holding your right shoulder down so you can really access the neck muscles on the right side. So it should feel like a good stretch. Just observe that stretch, just making sure that you're only going as far as feels nice. And our neck muscles can get very tense and tight, particularly when we're gripping tools quite hard. That gripping tension can go up into our neck without us even realizing it until we start hurting. It might feel nice to tip your head forward slightly too. So just again, going where feels good. And then come back up to center. And take your hands over to the other side. And take your head to that side too. So the hands to the right, head to the right. And again, just come to where feels like a good stretch for you. And breathe. And the breathing is really important. If you breathe in a shallow way while you're trying to stretch, your body thinks it has to tense up, ready to do something. So breathing deeply really encourages our muscles to let go, and it's really worth knowing that and remembering it. So then maybe take your head forwards a little bit so you're stretching in a slightly different place. Further back. Again, just observing, breathing deeply. and then come back up. Let go of the hands, and again roll your shoulders. And then if you take your hands behind your back again, clasp them together again. I'm going to come sideways here so you can see more clearly. So take your hands away from your bottom and up. And stay here for a moment and breathe. It's a lovely stretch across the front of the chest. So much of what we do is with our arms in front, whatever we're doing, not just gardening, but we're stretching these muscles, really opening the chest. So take a moment, breathing deeply here. And this is something that you can just do while you're walking in between jobs to give the chest a stretch, the arms a stretch. Just make sure your neck feels happy. We're going to come into a forward bend too. So inhale. Exhale, bend your legs, chest onto your thighs, then straighten your legs as much as they straighten. So by bending the legs, we're folding forwards more safely with a straight back. Bend your knees again making it safer. Hands back on your bottom. Inhale, come back up. And exhale fully. So if you fold forwards with your legs straight, you're much more likely to round your back and you're going to end up with back pain. So really do remember when you fold forwards to bend your legs, so that you fold from the hip socket, the hip joint, with a nice straight back, safer. So again, inhale, take your arms up. Exhale, bend your legs, chest onto your thighs, then straighten your legs as much as they straighten. Feel that stretch in the back of the legs. Reach up with the arms. Feel the weight of your head. You're going to shake your head around, releasing the neck muscles. Breathe deeply here. So you can either come up and down or you can just stay with that stretch in the back of the legs, breathing deeply. And then bend your legs, hands back on your bottom. Inhale, come back up. And exhale. And then with your feet a little bit wider than hip distance apart, soften your knees. And we're going to swing from side to side. And this is a lovely twist and a release. So much of what we do when we're gardening is very one-sided, digging. We're doing a little bit of twist with one side. If you can, it's obviously great to do the other side. Try and do whatever we're doing, both directions, both sides, but sometimes it can be very hard unless we're very ambidextrous. But this is a lovely twist. It just brings balance back to your body. So if you know you've been doing something very one-sided, it's a lovely movement to do. Just let your arms go flop. Feel that lovely twist. One side working, one side stretching. It should feel good. I do say that like a broken record, but it should. Always listening to your body, making sure you do what feels right for your body. And then come back to center. And then if you take your right hand down your back, so coming into a shoulder stretch, and take your left hand and just rest that on the elbow, encouraging that elbow to head down, so the hand heading down your back as if you're trying to give your back a good scratch. And then we're going to include a stretch as the hip above the hip. So step your right foot back into a lunge. Reach back with your right heel. So you're still taking that hand down your back for the stretch in the shoulder, but you're reaching back with the right heel, so you're getting a lovely stretch there, and in the back and in the calf, in the back of the leg. So breathing again deeply, just observing those stretches. Make sure your neck feels happy. Or you could do this without the lunge, just as a periodic stretch for the shoulders. Or you could lunge just against a tree every now and then to stretch the hips. Just remembering the need to stretch out these places. And step forwards. And the other side. So again, always remembering to do both sides. So left hand down your back, right hand on the elbow, just to encourage that stretch. And step back with your left foot. So again, reaching back with the heel, feeling that stretch in the front of your left hip and the back of the calf. Again, breathe deeply. Again, just reminding yourself that as much as you do, see if you can do the same things both sides. It's when our body goes into imbalance that often we end up hurting ourselves. So too much, too long of the repetitive movements or positions, or doing things too much just one-sided. And come out of it. And shake your legs out. And then take your feet a little bit wider again. Hip distance a little bit wider than hip distance apart. Soften your knees, hands on your hips, and circle your hips. And this is one of my absolute favourite things. As you circle, you can really feel all the muscles around your pelvis and your tummy and your back working. It's a really lovely movement for bringing balance back to your body. If your back is beginning to ache, your front of your hips are feeling sore, so many things, it can just be a lovely movement to do. These are just the odd moments throughout the day. And take the circle in the other direction. Quite often one direction feels more natural than the other. And then come back to centre. Feet back to hip distance apart. And we're going to stretch and strengthen the wrists and the forearms. Quite often when we grip tools really hard, it brings tension into the forearms and into the wrists and into the hands themselves. So you have your palms facing up, elbows in by your sides. Close your hands. And then keeping your arms still, raise your fists. And to neutral. Raise your fists. And back to neutral. I'm going to come sideways again just so you can see. So I'm not moving my forearms, just the wrists, just the fists. I'm stretching at the back of the wrist and strengthening the forearm. And we're going to be stretching in the other direction when we come down onto our hands and knees. So this is a lovely stretch that we don't do very often. So many things we do, we actually shorten the back of the wrist. And it can lead to carpal tunnel. Various other problems. Just observing how that feels. Then we're going to stretch the fingers out. So just stretch them out and clench. Stretch them out. So again, these sort of things, they can be very intuitive, but we can forget to do them. So stretch out and clench. Stretch out and clench. Then we're going to come into a squat. A squat is a very natural way to sit, and gardeners do often do some squatting, but sometimes some people feel they can't get there, but it's great to see if we can. It stretches out the back. So feet wider than hip distance apart. Make sure your knees are pointing in the same direction as your feet. And sink down. Bring your hands onto the floor and sink down into it. And then come out of it a little bit. And again, sink down. See if you can sink your bottom down as low as you can. And come out of it a bit. So just really warming up and stretching. So rather than going straight into it, so just a few more times, up and down. See if you can go a little bit further down each time. And then maybe you can come down into the squat. And you can take your hands off the floor. And just, they can be in prayer, they can be wherever, but you can even be gardening in this position. So just changing the position of what you're doing. You might need to put something underneath your heels. But you can just change the position you're in more frequently. The back is getting a lovely stretch here. It's a very natural way to sit. So just again, breathe deeply. Observe your body here. The legs are getting a stretch. The back, the hips, the pelvic floor. Then bring your hands onto the floor and we're going to stretch the legs out. So take your heels behind your toes and fold forwards. So again, bend your legs. Make sure your back is lovely and straight. And straighten your legs just as much as your legs. Straighten where your back is straight. You're folding from the hips again. Bending and straightening. And then we're going to come down onto our hands and knees. So you may be doing lots of hands and knees movements in your garden. And it's nice to, again, know some different ways to move around. So spread your fingers. And we're going to do an outward wave of the hands. So when I talk about an outward wave of the hands, it's that with the hands, but they don't move. They're on the floor. They don't move. The effect of that is that the crease of your elbow turns towards the front of the mat, and it really helps to strengthen your shoulders in a healthy way. So outward wave of the hands. Tuck your toes under. We're just going to strengthen tummy muscles here. Inhale. Exhale, lift your knees off the floor just a little bit. Inhale, knees back down. Exhale, lift your knees off the floor. Inhale, back down. And again, lift your knees up off the floor. Inhale, back down. Just if you feel your tummy, you want to do a little bit of strengthening the tummy muscles, it can be a nice place to go. Front of the feet on the floor, we're going to stretch out the back and the front. So inhale, take your tail away and up, breastbone forwards. Exhale, round your spine. Look towards your tummy and squeeze your pelvic floor. Inhale, tail away and up, breastbone forwards. Don't throw your head back. Look at the floor in front of you. Exhale, round your spine. Look towards your tummy and squeeze your pelvic floor. And a few more times. So again, it can be a really lovely way to move your back if you've been in the same position for quite a long time, doing something that's very repetitive. It's a really lovely way to stretch out. And then we're going to come into downward dog, the ultimate stretch. So outward wave of the hands, tuck your toes under, and come into downward dog. So downward dog is like an upside down V. But again, you really want your back to be straight. So even if your legs don't go straight, back straight. Bend your legs. Really focus on taking your tail away and up. And then straighten your legs just as much as they straighten. So if they don't go straight, that doesn't matter. And then pedal your legs. One leg bends, the other leg straightens. Just pedaling those legs, feeling that lovely stretch in the back of the legs. And downward dog is one of those positions that just should feel like such a lovely stretch in the back of your legs that once you know it, you think, how on earth could I have coped without it? I just feel like doing a downward dog. And come up onto your tiptoes for stretching your feet. Heels away and down, particularly if you're in bare feet, it's a really lovely thing to do. If you're gardening, you may not be, you might be in wellies. If they're flexible, you might get a bit of movement here. So you're going to come back down onto the knees, front of the feet flat, and sink back into a child's pose. And child's pose itself can be just a lovely rest. The back again is getting a lovely stretch. Just breathe deeply here. And we're going to finish off with a twist. And twists are really lovely. If your back is hurting, you've overdone it, then it can be a really lovely thing to do. Just lying on the ground. So straighten your left leg and bring your right foot to rest on the left knee. And just shuffle your bottom off to the right a little bit and take your arms out to the side. I'm going to have my left arm bent because I haven't got very much space out to the left, but you want to have your palm up, right arm out to the side, palm facing up, and take your knee over to the left and look over to the right. So your neck is getting the same stretch. You're heading in the opposite direction to the knee. Now you may want to take your left hand and rest on your right thigh, and that just encourages that thigh to head over. But breathe. Again, use that breath. So deep inhales and long exhales. See if you can feel how that exhale encourages your body to release a little bit more. Take your inhale all the way down to your right hip, all the way up to your armpit, and exhale fully. So really feeling that lovely stretch. And sometimes you might feel a click, click, click as things just release and fall back into place. But as long as that feels good. Again, don't try and be somewhere. Don't think, oh, I've got to get that knee to the floor. It should feel like a lovely stretch. And as you stay here, breathing deeply, I'm just going to say one of my favourite quotes that I think applies to yoga, but in everything we do. If you listen to your body when it whispers, you don't have to hear it scream. So if you listen to your body when your back is beginning to ache, or your shoulders are beginning to ache, or your neck's feeling a bit tight, or anything else, just remember to do a stretch, or change position, do something else. Break up your chores a little bit more. And then come back up to center. And shuffle your bottom back to the middle. And change legs. So your right leg is straight, left foot resting on the knee. Arms out by your sides. Inhale. So if I said shuffle your bottom over to the left, I'm not quite sure, but if you haven't, do that. And then take your knee over to the right. And your head off to the left. So again, the neck should be getting a lovely stretch too. If that feels too much, look up towards the ceiling. But if you can turn that head to the left, it just really should feel like a nice release. So again, the right hand resting on the thigh, just encouraging it to head down and over, but not forcing it. And again, breathe deeply, using the breath to encourage your body to let go. And breathing through the nose. Breathing through the nose is a much calmer way to breathe than through the mouth, a much healthier way to breathe. So again, long, deep breaths. Feel your body releasing in. And again, maybe there's a click, click. Take your awareness around your body. And again, just making sure that you feel happy where you are. You're not forcing yourself to be somewhere that doesn't feel good. And then come back to center. Bring your bottom back to the middle. And bring your knees in towards your chest and hug your knees and rock from side to side. Give your back a nice massage. And this really simple pose in itself can be such a lovely thing to do if your back is hurting. Bringing the knees in and rocking. And you can access different parts of your back. So the nearer your knees are in towards your chest, you'll feel that takes the massage further up your back. If you take the knees a little bit further away, it takes it further down. And further away, further down your back, more into the pelvis. So just finding that place that works for you, that lovely massage that works for you. And then bring your feet onto the floor. And roll over onto one side to push yourself up. I hope that's given you some good ideas of things that you can do, either watching this video again or things that you can do just every now and then, just to throw some of these movements in to keep your body healthy. And one more tip to help you keep your back safe while you're doing the gardening is when you pick something up, do remember to bend your knees, as I'm sure you all do know, but also pick it up on the exhale. When we inhale, our tummy muscles should relax and our back is going to do the job more than it should do. So as you exhale, tummy muscles naturally engage a little bit anyway, so use that. As you exhale, bend your legs, pick that thing up, the heavy thing up, keeping your back as straight as possible, legs bent. Look after yourself.